So you've probably heard of Karl Marx's Das Kapital, right? It's this massive, really intimidating book that changed the world. But today, we're not going to talk about the finished product. Instead, we're going to peek behind the curtain. We're opening the door to his private laboratory. We're talking about the secret notebooks from 1861 to 1863, the very place where these world-shaking ideas were first hammered out. To really get what was driving him, you've got to picture the scene. Okay, so it's London, Marx is flat broke, living in absolute poverty. His family, often sick, often hungry. His only escape, his sanctuary, was the British Museum. He'd spend day after day there, surrounded by all these books. So when you hear him say this, that he sacrificed everything, I mean his health, his joy, his family, he's not being dramatic. It's this raw, honest confession of what this work cost him. This wasn't just a book for him. It was a mission he believed was worth literally everything. All right, so let's get into it. Marx's secret notebooks. The thing you have to get right away is that this whole project, it was born out of sheer desperation. This wasn't some cozy academic study, no way. This was an obsessive, years-long investigation he was doing while dealing with just incredible personal hardship. And a scholar named Enrique Dussel, who has spent a ton of time with these notebooks, he says this is the key to the whole thing. Marx wasn't just an author writing a book. No, he was like a detective on a massive case. The world around him was changing at lightning speed, right? And he was trying to solve this fundamental mystery about the economic system that was popping up all around him. He was trying to crack the case of capitalism. So what was that central puzzle? What was this great mystery that just obsessed him for years and years? Well, it all boils down to one single question. And on the surface, it sounds almost too simple. Here it is. This was the puzzle. See, the big shot economists before Marx, guys like Adam Smith, they all argued that capitalism is basically a system of fair exchange. You sell a chair for what it's worth, you buy bread for what it's worth, everything is traded for its true value. Okay, sounds reasonable, right? But if that's true, then how in the world do capitalists consistently end up with more money than they started with? If every exchange is equal, where does profit even come from? It's like pulling a rabbit out of the hat. It feels like magic. Okay, and this little comparison just lays out the problem perfectly. Take a look. On the left, you've got this ideal exchange. A worker makes something, sells it for what it's worth. Value in equals value out. Simple. Profit is zero. But look at the right. In the real world of capitalism, a gap just appears. Out of nowhere, there's a profit of $5. For Marx, this wasn't just a simple accounting issue. This was the scene of the crime, and his job was to figure out where did that extra $5 really come from. So to crack this case, Marx realized pretty quickly that the old detective kit just wasn't going to cut it. The tools he got from economists like Adam Smith or David Ricardo, they were useless for this job. He had to invent his own. He had to forge brand new concepts right there in those notebooks. And Dussel's analysis shows Marx basically acting like a master mechanic. He's taking apart the theories of everyone who came before him, piece by piece. He looked at Adam Smith and saw he was just confused by what was happening on the surface. Then you have David Ricardo. He got so close. He saw the contradiction, but his own theory kind of trapped him in a corner. And other guys like James Stewart, they were looking in the completely wrong place, staring at the marketplace instead of the factory. The point is, they could all see the result. They could see the profit, but not one of them could explain the actual mechanism that created it. So this is the first new tool Marx created. And honestly, it's an absolute game changer. It's a really sharp, really crucial distinction. He says workers don't sell their work. They sell their capacity to work for a certain amount of time. He calls it labor power. And what's the value of this commodity? It's just what it costs to keep the workers showing up every day. You know, food, a place to sleep, the basics to keep them alive and able to work. And here's the flip side of that coin. This is the other half of the puzzle. Once the capitalist buys your labor power, your ability to work, they then get to use it. And that use, that actual process of you working, that's what Marx calls living labor. And this right here is the magic ingredient. Living labor is the one and only commodity in the world whose very use creates more value than it costs. And that is the key that unlocks the entire mystery. Okay, let's move on. Now we can see exactly how these two new concepts, labor power and living labor, fit together. Armed with these ideas, Marx could finally go back to the crime scene and show everyone exactly where that mysterious profit was coming from. And here we go. This is it. This is the aha moment that took him years of painstaking work to uncover. Let's walk through it. Step 1. The capitalist buys the worker's labor power. pays its true value, let's say $50 for the day, seems fair. Step 2, the worker then performs living labor for that whole day, and in the process creates, say, $100 worth of new value. See the gap? The value the worker created is way more than the value of their wages. And that difference, that extra $50, that's what Marx called surplus value. So profit doesn't come from clever trading, it's not magic. According to Marx, it comes directly from the part of the workday that the worker isn't paid for.
But here's the thing. This discovery wasn't just about explaining profit. It was much bigger than that. It gave Marx a powerful method for, well, unmasking the entire economy. A way to peel back the layers and see what's really going on beneath the surface.
I mean, just think about it for a second. The stuff we see in the economy every day. Prices, interest rates, rent, profits, that's all just the confusing surface. It's what appears to be happening. The method Marx worked out in those notebooks was all about one thing: digging deeper. Getting past all that noise to find the core relationships that are actually driving the whole show from deep underground. And this map here, it basically lays out that whole journey downward. Right at the top, on the surface, you've got things like interest and rent. It just looks like money is magically making more money. Okay, so we peel that back. The next level down is industrial profit. And that kind of looks like it comes from the whole business operation. But we keep digging. Deeper still, and bam, you hit it. Surplus value, the real source, the unpaid labor. And then, if you go all the way down to the very core, you find the fundamental engine of the whole system, that simple, powerful relationship between capital and living labor. So, when you close the door on Marx's secret laboratory, the biggest takeaway isn't really just about economics. It's a way of thinking. It's a challenge to all of us, really. It's about looking at our own world and asking that same powerful question. What are the things that we just accept as obvious, as natural, as just the way things are, that might actually be the surface of a much, much deeper reality hiding underneath?